If you're one of the millions of people who like to crack open a drink after work, you might be surprised to know that 1 in 5 of those drinks is illegal. 1 in 5. And behind all of those illegal drinks is a untaxed, unregulated industry worth 25 billion rand. It's not just the financial loss that worries me, which should worry mainstream media, but I don't see it featured anywhere. It's also about the people who have been poisoned and now require medical care from a strained system, which is trying to cater for all the illegal immigrants, some of which create and distribute the illegal alcohol. It funds the gangs. It has a serious effect on gender-based violence, road accidents, unwanted pregnancies, for women who can ill afford to skip school and then look after a baby, which puts a further strain on the social grants. What irks me is that the power and the profit is reaped by the corrupt elite we are seeing in the media now. And that 1 in 4 of the articles I read, only one of them mentioned law enforcement. 1 out of 4. Because what I'll show you soon is that without the law enforcement, nothing else matters. The facts state manufacturing sophistication drives deception and makes these numbers very real. Counterfeit alcohol is 31% of the illegal market, making up 9.7 billion rand. Smuggling, 23% at a cost of 7.5 billion rand. That's thank you to our very non-existent borders. Tax leakage, 25%, 2.5 billion rand. I'm not hearing SARS going after the illegal alcohol, legal alcohol, tax leakage. I do hear about SARS putting a much tighter focus on your and my bank accounts. Stay with me, because really this isn't about the hangover. It's about the cost. South Africa's illegal alcohol market is now a 25.1 billion rand underground industry, and it makes up 18% of all alcohol sold. According to Euromonitor International, they say illegal alcohol sales have surged 55% since 2017, reaching around 773,000 hectoliters in 2024. It means that 1 in every 5 drinks consumed is illegal. During lockdown, the bans opened that can of worms. It created the perfect opportunity. While we were all sitting at home, the borders were still open. Smugglers, counterfeit spirits, and home brews, remember those days. But the fact is that many of the operations never disappeared. It's the exact same thing that happened with cigarettes. That, by the way, is a rabbit hole that deserves its own video. The human cost of alcohol is something we can't avoid either, legal or illegal. It's staggering. South Africa spends 150 billion rand on alcohol a year. That comes to about 414 million rand every day. 2024, between December and New Year's, 4.4 billion rand. And this year, the spending before New Year's spiked to almost 1 billion rand a day on alcohol sale. In Gauteng alone, over 5,000 alcohol-related incidents were recorded in 2025. That's 13 a day for Gauteng alone. And those are only the recorded incidents. See, the thing is that the companies are profiting off these festive spikes and 4.4 million rand a day. Private and illegal companies are making profit off this. The public system picks up the mess, the taxpayer pays the price, and the communities suffer. And let's not forget that illegal anything fuels organized crime, which goes hand in hand with corruption if you're based in South Africa. Allegedly, shockingly for me, as somebody who comes from a media and communications background, is that only 1 out of 4 of the articles I read referenced to the actual core problem. The real reason illegal alcohol sales are up by 55%. Law enforcement capacity, tough economic conditions, and addiction. Those are the core issues with alcohol in South Africa. The other articles, they mentioned officials have been captured by syndicates, but that again is not the core of the problem. Because the article that did reference to the core problem was SABC, funnily enough. And what they said, and what I'm trying to bring across, is that if we had proper functioning law enforcement, those bribes wouldn't have been taken. If they can, they will. After all, isn't that what their leaders are doing? I try and give each video as much research time as I can, but at some point I must call it quits and move forward into making the video. I couldn't find any particular names related to politicians involved in the illegal alcohol syndicates, because everything took me down the illegal cigarette industry. And like I mentioned earlier, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. If you are aware of any particular names, make sure to drop me a comment. In 2025, only 50 officials were arrested, and that was for taking kickbacks to ignore illegal outlets. Because there is no enforcement or accountability, smugglers are moving stock from Mozambique and Lesotho straight into South Africa, because we barely have a border, and then local producers are just brewing at home. They're using toxic chemicals with no control on the alcohol content per bottle. Cheap to produce, profitable to sell. No law enforcement. In our current economy, with our current unemployment rate, people are desperate to escape reality. And it's a bootlegger's dream in South Africa. The illegal alcohol economy is bleeding South Africa of billions. The shortfall which Treasury speaks of every year, it's because of this. It's because of lack of law enforcement. But the only area SARS is focused on is us, the taxpayer. Meanwhile, this untaxed industry not only steals funds from South Africa, it then goes and puts immense strain on public health, safety, and crime. It is a vicious cycle that the taxpayer has to foot the bill for. The ANC cannot get their shit together. The ANC is too busy getting rich off their illegal businesses, allegedly. So South Africa has lost an estimated 16.5 billion in tax revenue in 2024 due to illicit alcohol. And to think that that money could have funded new hospitals, roads, schools, crime-fighting initiatives, economy-boosting projects. No, illegal, untaxed. The legal alcohol sector, however, actually supports 1 in 31 South African jobs. Would you believe? And it generates over 100 billion rand in taxes. These illegal traders not only skip tax, they are evading tax and then putting a huge strain onto public resources and society and the taxpayer. They are fueling the destruction. Make sure you check out a previous video of mine. I was talking about another tax evading industry, because that too is not contributing to the fiscus, but it creates how many road accidents, drives how recklessly every day, fueling huge crime syndicates. I'm talking about the taxi industry. What fentanyl is to the USA, alcohol is to SA, because it's not about the cheap drink or the cuck hangover. It's about the tax that's not being collected, the public money wasted having to look after people who were poisoned by a crime syndicate, while nobody speaks about law enforcement. This is now an economic necessity. The untaxed, the unregulated, the illegal industries, they consume public resources that contribute absolutely nothing. More often than not, contributing to the speeding up of the decay of our beautiful country. Illegal alcohol isn't just about what's in the bottle. It's a mirror showing how weak enforcement of the current laws, thanks to corruption, which compounds inequality, poverty, and crime. That's what it's showing us. That's what the media should be reporting on. It is the fuel of all things wrong with South Africa. From hospitals to police stations to small-town taverns, the cost lands on ordinary South Africans. Meanwhile, nobody's talking about the real problem here, the total lack of enforcement of current laws. No. We must increase the drinking age. Listen, sweet cheeks, if you have a 13-year-old drinking, there is a lack of enforcement rather than a lack of the law. Changing the current law just means you're going to have more minors drinking, but still no enforcement of the current laws. Around and around we go. And even experts and campaigns like Rethink Your Drink talk about tougher pricing laws, shorter trading hours, and fewer outlets. It's not about the laws. It's not about the price. It's about the illegal alcohol coming over the border. It's about the people who are able to brew it at home. It's about corruption. It's about enforcement of the law. And until we change this with accountability and economic growth, nothing else matters. If this story opened your eyes or made you think a little bit differently, then give it a like and make sure to subscribe. And then share this video with somebody who needs to hear this sort of news. And then tell me in the comments, which of these do you think should be the focus for South Africa to tackle the issues? Raise alcohol taxes, tighten borders, or focus on fixing corruption first? For me, the real question isn't who drinks. The real question for me is who pays. Guys, I really do hope you found this insightful. Shout out to all my supporters, Nikki and Paul. All of your support really just means the world to me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. That's around the corner. Over and out, guys.